So I think I've taken some clips here and there for the vlog, but I haven't really spoken for the July vlog. To be honest, I didn't know if there was going to be a July vlog. Well, I was hoping there would be, and then as of last week, I didn't know if there was going to be one. If it is, it could just be this. It could be this short. I won't go into the specifics, but not navigating a great time at the moment. But I've just gone to the library to pick up some books that I had on request, so I thought I would show them with you, as well as share like some of the books that I have finished reading recently. So I believe I have actually talked about this one in a vlog already at some point, I don't know, but I'm sure when I finished reading it I spoke about it. So I was meant to return this, and I finished this last night. I was meant to also return this, and for some reason I did the other bits that I was meant to do, and then I looked in my bag for all the book to return, and I was like, I don't have it. But obviously I could just still pick up the books that I had on request. So this was actually recommended to me by a viewer like a couple of years ago, I want to say, and I can't believe it's even been that long, maybe like last year or the year before. And I was just looking through things that I could borrow from my library, and I was like, let me dig into this. This, at the back of it, makes it known that there is a second in the series, and there is actually now a third in the series, so I've reserved both of them. This book was actually quite long for everything that happened, I'm not gonna lie. This was basically about like women going into space. It's about a character named Elma who is Jewish, and she's like a mathematician, and early on in the book a meteorite strikes, and she essentially calculates that basically, and this is in the US, Earth will become so overheated that it will not be livable. So then it basically facilitates a mission to the moon so that like we can move people to the moon. A lot of this was about maths, and just a lot of it went over my head. All the science, all the maths really went over my head. Even things that were, not all of it, but I was just like, I actually don't really care for it. I don't care to understand it. But it didn't take away from the story. This was such a lovely book in the sense that it obviously had a lot of the fact that, you know, she's a very smart woman. She works amongst a lot of smart women, and that's all just taken for granted for the fact that they're women. But then there is also the element of racism in there. She does not realise it. It's pointed out to her through like other black people that, you know, when she eventually, when all these things happening and she like makes the cut and stuff like that, there is a lack of people of colour there. And just overall in this whole sort of mission, and just the way that the systems are laid out, she is realising that if it wasn't pointed out to her, she would never realise these things. And even though she's fighting for her sort of equality, she also is so guilty of not recognising the plight of others who aren't white. But in this she's also battling, you know, the fact that there is a lot of men that don't believe women should go to space. So there's a lot of misogyny in here. And what's also nice in here, but also quite irritating, is she has a wonderful and supportive husband. And it's really nice. It's nice to have, you know, a male character in here, especially in books in general, in a husband role, of two people that really love each other, you know, that aren't like sniping at each other, blah, 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 blah. And obviously they do like get annoyed with each other because they have stressful jobs and things are happening and things like that, but they always return to love, which is really nice. It just sometimes gets a bit much. It's like, we get it, he's the supportive husband, we get it, they are a happy couple, and sometimes it just felt like a lot. I will say this book is how many pages? Like 400 and something pages. I think it could have been like 100 pages less, if I'm honest, because a lot of it is just about the fact of stopping and starting. If every single time there seems like a step forward that she might get to go, or, you know, they might, you know, open the process open for women, then they stop and there's just some sort of conflict and blah, 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 and it's just like some of it could have just been drawn out. So I think the next book is about 300 pages, but the third one is 600 pages. And I remember seeing that thinking, 600? Like, what could you possibly have to say? I felt like this was a bit too long, but I'm looking forward to getting stuck into like the series, because usually if I read a book in a series as well, like I don't tend to then pick up the next one straight away. I'm quite lazy with that. Sometimes I want to break from it, but as shown earlier this year when I was reading the Miss Dalrymple series, like I could go through ones in a bit, and then I got tired of that. I read about 6 of them and was like, I need a break from this series. So this is what I picked up from the library. The first is XX by Angela Chadwick, and it says here, how far would you go for a child of your own? I'll be honest, I can't even remember what this is about. So we're going to read and find out together. When Rosie and Jules discover a groundbreaking clinical trial that enables 2 women to have a female baby, they jump at the chance to make history. Fear-mongering politicians and right-wing movements are quick to latch onto the controversy surrounding ovum technology and stroke the fears of the public. What will happen to the number of little boys born? Is there a sinister agenda to eradicate men? In this toxic political climate, Jules and Rosie try to hide their baby from scrutiny. But when the news of Rosie's pregnancy is leaked to the media, the relationship is put under a microscope and they're forced to question the loyalty of those closest to them and battle against a tirade of hate that threatens to split them apart. I can't remember why this ended up on my list, but it was in my Amazon basket, and I've just been going through that and seeing what books are available in the library so that I can sort of get them off there and then start reading them and see if I like them. So that's one, especially because now I have a space for a non-fiction book, not a non-fiction book, for a fiction book, as I have just finished the Calculating Stars. But I actually know what I am going to read, and that is The Bullet That Missed. So I got the second one maybe in like May when I went to the Weems Bay bookshop. I have that vlog uploaded. I have the book haul uploaded, and I also have like a little vlog of the actual shop and stuff like that. So I'll link both of them up there and in the cards as well. And I was really hoping they would have this one in the bookshop because that second one was £1. But they didn't. But they do have the third one in the library. Once I went to pick up this other books, I actually saw this was like new available in the library, and I was like, I'm picking it up. So I'm going to read this next because I find it really easy reading, and that's just kind of what I need at the moment. Again, what's this one about? Okay. So the Thursday Murder Club is about these like octogenarians who solve murder. And it says here, it's an ordinary Thursday and things should finally be returning to normal, except trouble is never far away where the Thursday Murder Club is concerned. A decade-old cold case leads them to a local news legend and a murder with no body and no answers. Then a new foe pays Elizabeth a visit. Her mission? Kill or be killed. Can the gang solve the mystery and save Elizabeth before the murderer strikes again? Ooh. So I'm definitely reading that next, today, to be honest. And then two other books, I won't read through the blurbs of all of them, but this book, The Bastard of Istanbul, Elif Shak, I feel like most people know what this book is about. I actually can't even remember, but hey, I'm gonna find out. And then this is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. I didn't really realise this was a translation. The whole time when I saw people talking about like his books, I didn't actually realise any of them were translations. So cool. Again, I feel like this is one that most people know a lot about. I know a little bit about, but I will also find out more. I don't want to bore you by reading the whole blurb. And then there is this one, Violet, yes, by Isabel Allende. One Extraordinary Woman, 100 Years of History, One Unforgettable Story. Again, not really sure again what this is about. A girl who is the first in a family of 5 boisterous sons. I will talk all about these more perhaps in great depth. I don't know too much about them, but thank you, kitty. And I got this back. I mentioned in the last vlog that I had to return this and hadn't read it. Got it back quite quickly, so I don't know, whoever read it after me, or the couple of people read it after me, either read it very quickly or didn't get through it like I. So this is back on my shelf. But I am actually reading the David Pollan one about changing the way you see things, but yeah, we'll come back to that. So that is my mini book haul from the library. Hello guys, I don't think I have filmed in a while. I honestly can't remember. My life has been upheaval for the past 2 weeks. I've just been really sad. I have been going through a breakup, and therefore that just means things just don't get done. Not things don't get done. As breakups go, it's not the worst, but you know, I've been very sad. But one thing I have definitely been doing is reading, and I'm going to share these 2 books before I take them back to the library. So the first one is this, The Bullet That Missed. This is part of the Thursday Murder Club mystery series. I don't know why I'm so into this. I really like it as a series. I don't know if it's the older protagonist coming together. It definitely is the fact that it's a murder mystery, and I just love murder mysteries now, as we know from my Agatha Christie binge. So I first read the other one last year, I believe, when I was going to Barcelona. And then earlier this year, I picked up the second one in a charity shop. And then I was in the library collecting a whole bunch of other books and saw this and was like, definitely have to read it. Especially, God, I think this was in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, especially because I was just like, I said I can't go through anything heavy or read anything heavy because I have been reading this. And I actually just, before anything had happened, I was just like, I'm actually really not enjoying this, right? I was just like, I found it so slow, I don't know when the plot's going to pick up, not really enjoying it. And then everything happened, and I was like, the last thing I want to do is dive into a book that I'm not even enjoying. So I was like, pick up the light reads. So pick this up. Again, very light, very easy to get through, very like funny in places, and just your typical murder mystery. If you don't know about the Thursday Murder Club, it is about four, I think I butchered this last time when I tried to say it, but octogenarians, and they basically used to solve, like, well, they used to talk about old murder cases because one of them used to be in the police, but now we just have different mysteries for each one. So in the case of this one, it says a decade-old cold case leads them to a local news legend and a murder with no body and no answers, and then a new foe pays Elizabeth a visit. So essentially they are investigating the case of this, she used to be like a news anchor or something like that, I don't know if that's an American term, but a news reporter, and then she just like disappeared without a trace, and she's just been assumed dead. And for some reason they get curious about the case, and they end up like sort of meeting the guy who was really close friends with her and who really wants to get the case solved as well, because it was like his best friend, and she just like disappeared off the face of the earth. And yeah, they solve that crime, and it has a bit more to it than just your, I mean, I always say that about books, you always say it has a bit more to it, but it definitely has some more complicated angles and kind of doesn't leave off of a cliffhanger, but you can tell there's going to be more on that particular story in a later book, even if that isn't the main feature of the later book, which I quite like. I like a bit of continuity, so that's quite nice. And then there is a foe to kill Elizabeth, which is some continuity from the second book. The only thing I will say about this book is there is a bit, in terms of Elizabeth's foe and when all of that kind of gets resolved, I just feel like it's very unbelievable, like the character that, you know, is her foe, kind of how he ends up like kind of responding to pressures. I was just like, I just don't believe that any of this would happen. So that was the only bit of the book that was like, that's kind of like bullshit. The other book that I have read is The Idea of You. Now, I don't know who spoke about this book, right, or where I saw it. I just know it was on my Goodreads want to read, and I borrowed it from the library. And it's so funny for me because this book is about a 39-year-old woman, Celine, and she basically begins an affair with a guy in a pop band, and he is 20. And the cringe and guess annoying thing about this is it's the pop band of her, it's her daughter's favourite pop band. The reason she goes is because her daughter and her daughter's friends are really into it. And then she ends up meeting this guy, and they begin this affair, and then it's all about like fame and just people finding out, and then obviously like her daughter finding out. But the whole time I was reading it, or at least the middle point I was reading it, I was just like, oh yeah, this is like so cringe. Like, imagine your mum like doing that. Like, it would just be like weird. And it's not like the mum is like poor or anything. She's quite like rich as well, but obviously not millionaire boy band rich. But obviously one of the huge factors in this is the fact that she is 19 years older than him. And it just never crossed my mind that that was a huge factor. I don't know why. I was just reading it, and I was just like, at the middle point, I was just like, this is like a little bit reminiscent of my situation. Not the reverse, obviously, please have put some respect on my name. But I was just like, oh, funny how you never noticed that, because to you were like, okay. But obviously, a lot of the focus isn't on that. Most people's focus is about the fact that, you know, don't fall in love with him. Obviously, this is just for fun and stuff like that. But, you know, but they end up developing a very deep relationship. And to be honest, it is exactly what you think it is. The sort of blurb finishes with, can Celine allow herself to fall for the boy the world wants? And all this book takes you through is them being together, them fucking, them going to different countries, them fucking, like how other people are finding out, what the impact is on their lives and stuff like that. And then it ends. I read some reviews about people on the ending, and they were like, I can't believe it just ended like that. And it's just like, what other way was it ever gonna end, you know? And again, it was just like so reminiscent for me when I was reading it, where it was just like, you know, there's not gonna be a happy ending here. So I was just like, but again, just a really nice light read. So very thankful for those two books, because I haven't been able to like do much, but reading has been something that has kept me like sane. So then in terms of books to read next, I have quite a selection. Thank you, library. So there is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson, but I feel like this will be a bit too serious for me, so I don't really want to read that. There is I'm Sorry You Feel That Way. Again, don't really want to read that. My flatmate gave it to me like months and months ago to read, and I still haven't, but I want something light. There is Anxious People, which is a contender for a next one. Yeah. I'm sorry I'm not reading the blurb of what these all are, but you can definitely check them out. There is The Bastard of Istanbul. Again, I feel, ooh, okay, yeah, I feel like that's a bit serious for moi. And then there is this, which is XX by Angela Chadwick. Again, this actually sounds really interesting. And I think I must have spoken about, I have been on here and spoken about it because I've spoken about this book. But at the moment, the only one that's tickling my fancy is Anxious People. I do actually have more books to collect in the library. I can't remember what they are. So I want to return these two and then I'll pick up the other ones and maybe there'll be a lighter read there. But yeah, I'm definitely on my lighter read journey right now. So that's where I'm at. It's actually now towards like the end of July, I believe, like Monday, and today's Thursday. So Monday will be the end of the month, and I for one am happy to put this month behind me. Sad as I am, just know like this was all for the best, and it's like no hate between us or anything like that. Not that, you know, anyone ever even knew. But I just wanted to say it's perfectly okay to be sad, and like I will be completely fine. But yeah, I'm glad to put this month behind me for sure, for sure. So yeah, I think I will just end this vlog here. I actually don't think I have many clips of anything else that's been going on, and definitely there will be an end to like all the nice like wonderful footage that I was getting across just like little trips that I was taking because I was with that person. But fear not, I am an independent woman and have plans to like obviously still see more of Scotland and stuff like that. Actually no, I got some footage from when I went to Fort William with my flatmate and we took the Jacobite Steam train, which is the Harry Potter train, so I'll include some footage for that. Obviously I would have just already included it. So yeah, but thank you so much for watching this video and I'll catch you in another one. Bye.